Hi, Dr. Heather here from Wellspring Chiropractic Lifestyle Center. Today I want to show you what we do when someone comes in and they've had a concussion and how we do our exam so we can really understand exactly what's going on, make sure they're in the right place to get what they need, and know exactly what the cause of any delay in their healing may be, and how we can actually give them the best approach so they get their best results. So first, again, we want to understand what the impact of the injury was for them. So we're going to do a very thorough exam after our history taking, where we hear what happened and what symptoms that they're experiencing. Then we want to see exactly what is their nervous system doing in regards to this injury. So one of our tests is the rolling thermography, and that is the one that measures the nerve supply to the organs, blood vessels, and glands. And oftentimes with concussion, we're going to find patterning of stress in the very top of the neck and at the base of the brain. And that's where there's a lot of jarring that happens, not just in the brain, but also in the upper cervical spine. And so we'll look at that and we can see how that may affect blood vessels and how well they're functioning, as well as the organs around the neck. That's the immune system, your thyroid for your energy levels. The vagus nerve comes out there, so there can be some stress that starts to happen if there's distortion there, and anxiety, depression, those kinds of things can happen from distortions in the upper cervical spine. And then also the nerve supply that can affect digestion, the stomach, and detox for the liver. So when we look at the rolling thermal scan, it gives us great information of the impact and how it's affecting the nervous system. We also like to look at where there is stress in the muscles, where there's spasming in the muscles. So the surface EMG helps us identify that. And very commonly, we are going to find that whole patterning with enormous levels of stress in the upper back, the neck, and up in the head. We also like to use the HRV, heart rate variability, because it tells us whether or not that athlete or that person that's been concussed, whether or not they are defaulting in stress mode. So when you have a jarring to the system, some people may get PTSD following a concussion because it affects them so much, and they may be stuck in stress mode. And basically the brain was saying, whoa, I wasn't ready for that, but I'll be ready for the next time that happens. And it just starts to default to that stress mode. And we can measure that using the HRV. We also can measure the capacity of being able to handle stresses. So typically after a concussion, we see that drop down. There's very little capacity to manage stresses. And that's why that person has to avoid light and screen time and things that are too stimulating. Sometimes it's sound and music, high-pitched sounds or too loud sounds. So that hypersensitivity to sensory input. And so there's just too much overload. So it's beautiful to see over time, as they're getting healthier, how we see that robustness and that power, that adaptability improve. We also like to look at the tension in the whole spinal cord. So when there is a stress pattern that has jarred the upper cervical spine right at the top of the neck where the brainstem lives, that can affect posture and balance. And so we can do an assessment tracking how well is the brain tracking where the body is in space. Is it distorted on how it's holding the body? And that's a fantastic piece and a tool to use to assess both where they are starting from and then progress over time. And then finally, when there is a tug in the spinal cord, that can actually track right down the legs into the heel cords. So we can measure the amount of stress in the whole nervous system right down in the heel cords. So we'll test what's called adverse mechanical cord tension by measuring the tension in the feet, heel cord tension, ankle eversion, adduction tension, abduction stress. All of those things are measurements of how much stress there is in the spinal cord. And then again, that's a reflection of the damage that's been done. So we do that full assessment so that then as we start taking care of someone, we know what the cause is, what the specifics are in their case, and then we can again measure it over time to watch how they're improving in function. I hope that you found that this was useful. If you did, please share it with friends and family, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon.